Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Glory. If this is the first time coming on this platform, okay, so we have been posting a lot of videos in Shona, and a lot of people are saying we really wanna learn, we really wanna know, also we really wanna listen. So this is our very first episode in English. In English, and I know that most of the audience from this platform, they've listened and watched these videos. So this is just a repetition. We are catching up on all the videos that we've done in Shona. All right. Hello, Auntie. How are you? I'll come on your platform to highlight the abuse that I encountered by a lady pastoress at our church, Auntie. After my encounter with the lady pastor, I now know that the devil is not in the street, neither is he in the nightclubs, but he's now in the church, perfectly disguised as an elder, pastor, or pastoress. And the worst part of it is that the abuse happens right under the parents' nose. Why? Because they are too trusting. If the parents or guardians see a pastor or pastoress, they will view them as harmless, when in actual fact, it's actually the opposite. Sodomy and the molestation usually is not done by strangers, but by the people whom you lead to children. No. I'm a lady aged 20 and I go to this Pentecostal church in the city of Mashengo. The church where I go to is attended by the affluent of the society. I go to the church with my parents. My parents are extremely fond of this pastoress. The lady pastoress was a saint in their eyes. I think that's why the lady almost got away with her crimes, because she spoke right, ate right, said right, and was an example of perfection. Little did they knew that all that glitters is not gold. Our lady pastor ran a club which she called the Good Apples Club. The Good Apples Club was more of a social club than a religious club. It was a club aimed at the young teenagers in the church from the age of 13 to 19. I can say in short, in the club, we discussed the personal hygiene, the dangers of substance abuse. We would sing songs and also go on a girls' trip with a lady pastor. The program was perfect in our parents' eyes because it kept our minds occupied. We also discussed the dangers of engaging in premarital sex, but unknown to them, the program was the perfect hunting ground for the pastor lady to hunt for a prey. So the pastor would ask us individually if we were still pure, if you were still a virgin and not defiled by any man. If you were pure, you were put in a honey crisp group. If you are to ask apple farmers, they tell you that the honey crisp apple variety ranks in the top 5 worldwide. It was an honor to be in this honey crisp group, as it would make you feel very close to the pastor lady. You'd also have the privilege of traveling with her whenever she went on her many trips. The pastor lady would spoil you rotten if you were in this honey crisp group. It was every girl's dream to be in the group, and every parent's wish to have their child in the elite group, but very few were chosen. Until the system was structured in such a way that it was like rewarding you for your good behavior and keeping yourself pure. If you were in the honey crisp group, you'd go for holidays, parties, high-profile events, just to mention just but a few. And what an honor to your parents is their social standing in the church will be elevated because of instilling good morals in their children. But one awkward thing about this setup is you were not allowed to discuss with anybody what would have transpired when you went out with a pastor lady. Now that I think about it, I think it was a way of keeping her secret safe, so to avoid whispers in the corridors. My awaited chance finally came. I was all over the moon, too excited to sleep. There was a women's conference in Victoria Falls, so the pastor lady told me to wear comfortable clothes as it was going to be a very long road trip. I was in cloud 9. I was going to brag to my school friends on how I'd seen the celebrated falls firsthand, or how jealous they were going to be. Pastoress asked for permission from my parents as I was still a minor. My parents did not even think twice. They agreed instantly as they saw it as an opportunity for me to mix and mingle with successful women who would inspire and shape the way I think later in life. The pastor lady and the driver, whom we called Brother James, was a beast when it comes to driving and his cool temperament. We were to use the pastor's new Range Rover. The pastor made sure I was not bothered by the whole trip. I had enough to eat, enough leg space, good music. My tablet was loaded with movies. We arrived in Vic Falls and we was too tired to talk. I think the tiredness was because I was not used to traveling long distances. Brother James had a room booked for him. Pastor and I were going to share a room. The room had 2 beds in it. The pastor was to use one bed and I was to use another one. The pastor lady asked me if I wanted to eat anything, to which I replied that I was too full, so I just wanted to take a quick shower and rest. I came from the shower and the pastor had made me some tea. She said the tea was to help me relax my muscles since I had taken a long journey. Oh, how thoughtful and how caring of her. But wait, why was she not drinking the tea? Did she not want to relax herself? She told me she had a midnight calls with a flock in Asia, so because of time differences, she could not allow herself to relax, as this would make her to sleep. I began to feel sleepy all of a sudden, and I think I knocked off totally. I woke up less tired until the following morning, but I was in pain. My boobs were feeling like someone had chewed them. Down there, the pain was worse. The pain was very excruciating, like when I stole my mother's tampon and inserted it down there. Mother had beaten me up and told me not to use things that were not age appropriate. Just that kind of pain was much worse. But the most confusing thing about this whole thing was normally I'm a light sleeper and any slightest noise would wake me up. How come I'd sleep through the phone calls and not hear anything? Not even hear one conversation. Secondly, I woke up in the wrong bed. The bed I remember sleeping in was not the bed I woke up in. I remember sleeping in was striped of all linen, and the pastor had said the housekeeping staff had come and took the linen while I was sleeping. That's strange, very strange. Trying to remember it all was giving me a headache. But the question that kept ringing in my head, is it possible that my tea was spiked? I've heard of alcohol being spiked, but to spike tea of a minor was a whole new level of witchcraft and being wicked. Let me take you back a little bit. Pastoress was someone who was well up. She stayed in Rhodesia. She had a very big house, but was unmarried and childless. She always taught us the doctrine of waiting for God's time, so she was going to take her time. Pastoress woke up bubbly and energized while I was confused, lost, and in intense pain. She asked me what I dreamt about, and I told her that I slept flat and I don't remember a single thing. Now that I think about it, it's not because she was concerned about me, but she wanted to pick my brain if I'd seen anything. We did attend the conference, but it was not my cup of tea. It was too serious and boring for my little brain. So the pastor booked for me age-appropriate tasks for me to do the whole day. The activities were nice, but I did not enjoy them much as my body was sore. The pastor was attending her conference. When evening came, the pastor told me to freshen up as I had physical activities. Coming from the shower, the pastor had a cup of tea for me in hand and all smiles. I had my suspicions about this tea, so this time I was not going to drink it. I told her I wanted to go to sit by the balcony and she followed me there. I think she wanted to make sure that I had taken the tea. Her phone rang and she went inside the room and I poured the tea in the flower pot. Instinctively, I knew that the tea had something to do with me sleeping flat and not hear a thing despite being a light sleeper. The pastoress came at me, touching me all over, doing horrible things to me that I cannot even pen down. She was violating me in unimaginable ways, thinking I was sleeping. I did not want to alert her that I was fully aware of what she was doing. What if she choked me to death? You see, high-ranking abusive pedophile perpetrators in the society will do anything to protect their secret. I wanted to call my parents, but what if my parents would not believe me? What if they think the pastor is sinless? Or better yet, what if they panic and put my life in danger? That's it. The pastor was a lesbian who preyed on young unsuspecting virgins, robbing them of their virginity. To think that I lost my virginity to a plastic dildo pains me to this very day. Auntie, what I later found out from this painful ordeal was pedophile perpetrators operate like animals in the jungle. To those who watch the National Geographic channel, they will tell you big cats like lions and cheetahs isolate and attack. That's the same operus monderati that the pastor had used on me. The last morning, the pastor noted that I was not happy at all, and she asked me why I was not my usually bubbly self. I lied that I had pre-menstrual pains, so I was not feeling well. We checked out of the hotel and met Brother James by the reception. I wanted to tell Brother James about the incident, just to have someone to confide in, but at this point, I was not sure of who to trust, so I kept the abuse to myself. I also discovered that the Good Apples group was pure nonsense. It was a way of identifying pure girls from the non-pure ones. This is part 1, and I see my battery is flicking, so we are going to stop here. Then I'm going to bring part 2 tomorrow of how she then told her parents and what went on, what happened later. But as you can see, the pastor lady was a pedophile. She was doing things that she could not even write down to young ladies. This is very sad. Just let me know how this episode went. Like I haven't been doing anything in English for the past 1 year. But I think this is our first episode. If there are any places that I need to improve, let me know. And thank you guys for watching, and I expect to see you again tomorrow. We're going to be back with another episode in English. If this is your first time meeting me, may you consider hitting the subscribe button so that whenever I post episodes in English, you're going to be notified. And I'm so glad that we have started this. Thank you very much for watching. See you in our next episode. Bye-bye.